So today's presentation, we're going to talk a little bit about the 6 through 12 online program. This is kind of the main focus, actually. We won't talk just a little bit about it. And then I'll go over the curriculum that we use in the online school, and then I'll go over some enrollment options. But before we do that, let's start with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of your faithful, and kindle in them the fire of your love. Send forth your Spirit, and they shall be created, and you shall renew the face of the earth. O God, who by the light of the Holy Spirit did instruct the hearts of the faithful, grant that by the same Holy Spirit we may be truly wise and ever enjoy his consolations. Through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right, so again, welcome to everybody here. We've had a few more people stream in since we started. My name is Megan Lengyel. I am the Chief Academic Officer at Colby Academy. The students just kind of call me the principal, and that's essentially the role that I play overseeing the 6 through 12 online school. And my family and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. We have 4 kids. My 2 older ones are homeschooling with Colby Academy. And I say it's homeschool in the sense of I'm actually only homeschooling PE for them. Does that count? And everything else is through Colby's online program. So they have, all of Colby's teachers doing the other classes. My 9th grader is taking 7 online classes this year. And my 7th grader is also taking 7 online classes. So it's kind of a lot of classes. Not a lot of families usually start out that way. For us, they were coming from a pretty academically rigorous brick and mortar schools. So they were used to being busy, and I decided to just see how it goes. And it's actually been going really, really well. They are really enjoying the curriculum and the flexibility too of having classes and breaks in between, and being able to do their work on their time. So that's been going really, really well. Okay. Let me go forward here. This is probably, I'm trying to keep tabs on the chat box in case you guys have questions. Feel free to throw them into the chat box. I'll try to grab them as we go through the presentation, but if I miss anything, I can address that at the end. Okay. Give me 1 second here. All right, so St. Maximilian Colby was a saint of the modern era. He embraced modern technology with print and radio to reach his audience. Colby Academy, like our namesake, is rooted in tradition and yet relevant to the world today. We seek to harness the power of technology to offer a truly Catholic, classical, and flexible education. If St. Maximilian were here today, we believe he would be using the power of the internet and social media to continue reaching his audience and extend his reach. Colby Academy was first founded as a day school in 1980 by 3 families who experienced firsthand the rapid decline of the public school system and who are looking for a wholesome, academically challenging environment for their children. The founders anticipated the need to form young Catholic citizens who would effectively defend their faith with a thorough understanding of Catholic doctrine and regular reception of the sacraments. They also foresaw the growing need for better, more individualized and intensive instruction in basic education. Colby Academy is a mission-driven organization. We're here to provide affordable, flexible, and academically rigorous Catholic education throughout the world. And with salvation as our ultimate goal, our educational programs allow parents to tailor the formation of each child in the Catholic tradition with a classical curriculum and approach. It didn't take long before families who lived too far away from our day school to commute there to ask for help with homeschooling their children using the same curriculum as the day school. It was from those first requests in 1989 that our homeschool program was born. We have grown quite a bit since then. Now we offer a full traditional homeschool program for grades K through 12 and an online school for grades K through 12. Our school services over 2,500 students and graduates an average of 200 seniors annually. Our students have been accepted to all sorts of private and public schools, colleges, and universities, and have outstanding SAT and ACT score averages. We have over 70 teachers on staff and provide instruction for over 1,000 online students, with about 800 of those taking full-time online courses. So in our traditional homeschool courses, Colby offers everything that a parent needs to educate their child at home, including textbooks, course plans, tests, exams, answer keys, and we also offer additional grading services for homeschool courses. Our self-paced courses have pre-recorded video classes and follow our homeschool course plans to master, so that students can master the subject at their own pace with that video instruction. In our live online courses, students learn in a virtual classroom amongst their peers with a live instructor who facilitates discussion, lectures, and grades the coursework. Our live online courses provide that structure and accountability and uses the same classical approach as our traditional homeschool courses. The students will meet with their peers in Adobe Connect, which is the platform we use. It's another webinar platform, and at least once or twice a week for the full school year. Instructors will post assignments with due dates, hold discussions within the live class and also in Schoology, which is our learning management system, and they'll grade student work. The courses generally begin in mid to late August and follow a typical school calendar. Our live classes are scheduled Monday through Thursday, so no live classes on Friday, although assignments can come due on Friday. At the end of the semester, the grades are reported by the teacher, and we offer online courses in all subject areas for grades 6 through 12, including honors and some AP courses. So some of the instructor support that you're going to get is the great benefit of having your child in an online course. Since the classes are all online, the communication with the teacher, except on the rare occasion, is usually done over email if it's outside of class. We require our teachers to check and respond to email Monday through Friday, not including holidays or breaks. And many of our teachers will hold additional office hours or study sessions around exam time to be more available to students. Probably the biggest difference between our online courses and a traditional homeschool or self-paced course is that somebody else is setting the due dates and grading the assignments other than the parent. And the students will leave each live class knowing what their assignments are before the next live class and when those will come due. Teachers are required by Colby to give a minimum of 1 assignment per week, and some of them have more than that, depending on the class, especially in skills-based classes like math or science or foreign language that need more practice day to day. To encourage attendance in live classes and to encourage participation, Colby requires that teachers give a participation grade. That grade is earned either through participating in the class, or if the student is absent for any reason, they can make up that participation grade by watching the recording and writing a short summary on the class. To aid in preparing students and families for the online environment, we have several programs designed to foster student success. So every summer we offer a wide variety of courses, including study skills courses and even just some supplemental courses to get students used to the online environment. In the weeks leading up to the school year, we require that students complete a full student orientation course, which they can do at their own pace, but it gives them familiarity with Colby's policies, the Schoology platform, and the Adobe Connect software. And throughout the school year, Colby provides live support via our academic advising office and our live chat system. And we also have dedicated deans of students for separate grade levels now. It used to be 1 dean of students for the entire online school, but now we have 1 for 9 through 12, 1 for 6 through 8, and 1 for K through 5. And the deans are really there almost kind of as guidance counselors in some sense for our online students. So when a student issue comes up, sometimes they're dealing with academic dishonesty or student behavior, or just in general, a student is struggling, those deans are there as a support system for online students. When you enroll in classes, the academic advisors will actually help you and your student just to guide you to select the best courses for your child. And that's course enrollment actually opens next week. So when you enroll, you'll be assigned an academic advisor, and that particular advisor will review your course requests and make sure that your student is enrolling in courses that are appropriate for their level. You know, we have options like honors math or science, or just making sure you're in the right level math, even depending on what they're coming in with from their previous school. Sorry, Zoom is still a little bit befuddling to me in how to advance the next slide. So I'm getting there on that. All right, so just a couple notes on being successful in the online learning environment. There's a certain type of approach or attitude towards learning that is required of students and parents from the beginning. Students should be mature enough to complete assignments with little to no supervision from a teacher. That doesn't mean no instruction, just no like oversight to complete those. And if your child does need a little more oversight, I have different levels of students who need more encouragement to finish their work, just knowing that the parent is then going to be more involved in facilitating getting work done for a student who might not be as focused. Having good time management and study skills is really helpful. Having a student that's technologically inclined or at least interested in figuring out how to do something on the computer can really help with the efficiency of completing assignments. And then just keep in mind that the number of in-class and out-of-class hours required for the online courses, like as you enroll in courses, the online course might only be 2 hours of live time a week, but there will be outside work for them to do as well, reading, study guides, quizzes, that kind of thing. So you want to keep that all in mind when you're signing up for all the courses. You might not want to do 7 like this mom did, although it is going really well. So I can't say I regret that at all. But, depending on where you're coming from, if you've been homeschooling, for the last couple of years and they're kind of used to not having people setting due dates, that sort of thing, you might want to ease in with 1 or 2 online classes. If they're coming from a brick and mortar where they're used to being in class all day long and then having homework afterwards, 7 classes probably isn't going to be a big deal for them. So you just have to keep in mind the situation for your child and what they're used to and kind of adjust based on what your goals are for them. So, and beyond just student readiness, a certain level of family readiness, I often get the question, can my 2 children share a computer? And it depends. If you have them each in one class and they don't overlap, that's probably not going to be a problem. But as you add classes, if they're each doing 2 or 3, you're going to end up getting overlap with course times or, the time that they need to turn in work, that kind of thing. So you just kind of need to keep that in mind as you're making decisions on how many machines you need. We really do recommend that each student that's enrolled in an online class have their own computer. And then this one's always the hardest thing. It's that study space, right? A lot of us have large families, and to find a space where they can get their work done that's focused. I mean, I know it's been a challenge for me this year, just really trying to give my kids that opportunity to have quieter time to finish their work. So it's just something to keep in mind. Sending your kid up to the bedroom might be a quiet place for them, but it's also distraction. It can be just, I call it distraction city up there in our bedrooms. So finding a spot that's going to work, that's also a place where you can kind of keep tabs on them is good too. So that's been the challenge. I've got one over here in class right now. So he's in Latin class. Right, Austin, you're in Latin class? Mm-hmm. Yes. Carrie, good question. Yes, that is what is really great about the 6 through 12 online program. You can mix and match online courses, self-paced in homeschool, and a lot of our students do that. I would say the great majority of our students have some sort of mix of homeschool, online, and self-paced courses. And when I get to talking about enrollment options, I'll go over that a little bit more. Okay, so required equipment for students. I kind of talked about this a little bit. We recommend that everybody has their own laptop, but beyond that, a headset and webcam. You are going to need access to a printer. Mac or PC does not matter. Both will work. Chromebooks, I get the question about Chromebooks a lot. I will say, usually they work fine. My kids have done their summer classes with Chromebooks and it has been fine. I think if it's a newer Chromebook, that's better. I think where we find the biggest problems we've ever run into are people on much older machines, or if they've used mom and dad's cast-offs from previous work or whatever. That's where we tend to run into issues. There's like not enough RAM to support Adobe Connect or something like that. And then we provide Microsoft Office. So when your student enrolls, they get a Microsoft 365 login that they can actually download Microsoft Office on up to 5 machines. So that's kind of nice. High-speed internet. Oh, I skipped digital camera or scanner. There are going to be assignments that they may have to scan and upload. And my kids and I have just gotten a system where I let them borrow my phone. They have it connected to their Google Drive. Austin is correcting me. It's connected to their Google Drive, which then is connected to their Schoology page. So they can just quickly take a picture of their work, and then they go to their Schoology page and they can import it. So there's a lot of ways to do that. And you just have to find a system that works for your family. Textbooks, we require that students, we prefer that they have textbooks versus an ebook, especially like when they're in class. Teachers may refer to page numbers, and with ebooks, it's hard to, a lot of times like Kindles, they don't actually have page numbers. If you've looked at them, it's just like the progress along in a book. So we really encourage you to actually purchase the books. And then notebooks, pens, pencils, that's pretty standard. Although there are students that, my son included, I'm teasing you, Austin, with notes, it's been a fight, a battle to get them to take notes, but we really want them to take notes. I'm a big fan of the taking of the notes. So, you know, a notebook or a binder of some kind for each class is good. All right. And I kind of already talked about technology skills. The biggest one I'll focus in on this slide is the typing skills. 30 plus words a minute is ideal, but it's not necessary. I've had students that have come in with much lower than 30 words per minute, and they pick it up quickly. There are some free typing programs out there if that's something you want to do over the summer, like typingclub.com. And there's some other ones as well. All right, and then as far as parent expectations, given that we are a fully virtual school, there are those opportunities for academic dishonesty that can be a little more widespread than if you are at a physical school. Although now with all the, you know, even the brick and mortars, everybody's on the computer all day anyway. So it may just be an even playing field now, but it's good as a parent to help guard your students from the temptation to cheat. And just to keep them accountable. So we do have proctoring requirements. Now, that doesn't mean you have to sit there and like be looking at them the whole time, but being in the same room, taking away that temptation, checking on them periodically while they're taking tests is a good thing. Okay. Linda, yes, that's a really good question. I'll address that in just a minute because we're going to be in enrollment options shortly, and I can talk more about that. So with the online courses, we want you to work together as a team. There's the teacher and then the parent. So the teacher determines the curriculum pacing, obviously, but using Colby's curriculum. The teacher provides the assignments with the due dates, gives the grading, does the grading and the feedback, the live instruction, and provides some of those collaborative opportunities for students within the classroom. And as the parent, we'd ask you to respond to teacher concerns, review, the grade book consistently so you can see if there's any areas of struggle and to help them. Try to provide that good study environment. Please, please, please provide safe internet for students. That's one that I'm really, it's something that it's a hill I will die on. Please provide a safe internet, use Disney Circle or some other filtering device. And then help your child to advocate successfully for themselves, whether that's emailing with the teacher to ask them for clarifications on something. I found that that's been an area of growth for my 7th grader. He has done such a good job this year of advocating for himself with his teachers. Like if he needs clarification or something like that, he's really good about emailing them, whereas he used to be a little more shy about that. All right, and then some opportunities to get involved in our school. One thing that really sets Colby Academy apart compared with other online schools is that we really do try to promote community amongst our students and families. We have a lot of clubs you can sign up for. One of my favorites is the Spiritual Life Group. The Spiritual Life Group leads rosaries, school-wide rosaries, weekly prayers that are live. Students can log in all at the same time and do it at the same time. We also provide student discussion groups. We have a talent show, a live talent show, and a live Christmas concert. And there's tons of different clubs. Every year it's a little bit different. But these ones have kind of been the standard language clubs, newsletter, yearbook, spiritual life. There's lots of other ones. The newest one this year was the Philosophy, Theology, and Apologetics Club. The PTA Club is what they're calling themselves. And that's one of our history teachers leads that, and he loves it. It's been going really well. All right, so now I'm going to go on to curriculum, just so you can kind of get an overview. All right, so in our middle school, 6 through 8, we use the Faith and Life series. And in the 9 through 12, we use the Father Lowe text, along with some primary source materials, so that they end up in 10th grade hitting Church History 1, Church History 2 in 11th, and Church History 3 in 12th grade. We also offer honors options for all of those theology classes in 9 through 12. Oh, Libby, good question. So finding students in your own town, we can't really give out directory information without permission, but we do have a way for you to contact other parents within the Kolbe community. So there's ways, we provide a lot of avenues for that. We have like Facebook pages for the parents and other things so that you can really make connections with other parents. So that's a good question though. Okay, and then English, let me move on to English here. So in middle school, we have a couple options for English. We have, and just to point out, we have English courses separate from literature courses. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're looking through this. So we have 2 different options for English in middle school. One using the classical composition series, and then more of your standard English grammar course using Voyages in English for grammar and composition. And then going into high school, we do a thorough treatment of the grammar, logic, and rhetoric stages, which is kind of a hallmark of classical education. So in high school English 1, they're covering grammar. English 2, they cover logic. And then in English 3, they cover rhetoric. And then we also offer creative writing, which is normally taken by 12th graders, although it could be taken earlier. Okay, on to literature. So like I said, we separate that English and literature as they're separate credits in high school. And so in literature 6 through 8, there's mainly a focus on novels. Like in 6th grade, we do The Bronze Bow, Single Shard. I don't have the full list in front of me. 7th grade, we do, what did you do? Anne of Green Gables, Tom Sawyer. They're doing a whole bunch of short stories. They just read Old Man and the Sea. And then I'm drawing a blank on the other ones in 7th grade. And then 8th grade, they do Fellowship of the Ring. We're going to actually start doing Little Women. And they also do poetry in 8th grade. They do a unit on poetry. And then in 9th grade, that's when the classical, like primary source stuff really starts to kick in our curriculum. So you have Greek literature in 9th grade. And then in 10th, you have Roman, and then medieval in 11th, and modern lit in 12th. We also offer an AP literature and composition course as well that 12th graders can take. And it actually has a lot of the same texts, but more that our modern lit has. And then if anybody that has a rising 10th grader that might be new to Kolbe, we do offer something called Ancient Western Lit, which is a combination of the Greek and Roman year. So it kind of takes the best of both years and puts it together in one course so they can get more of a survey of Greek and Roman literature. I mean, anybody can take it. It doesn't have to be incoming 10th graders, but that's kind of the primary population that we aim that course at. We also offer honors courses for Greek, Roman, literature of Christendom, and modern era. So those all have honors options. Thank you, Kristen. Yes. Kristen is actually not a new parent. She is a current parent, so she can answer many of your questions. All right, on to history. So we use the Catholic Textbook Project for middle school. We also have high school versions of the Catholic Textbook Project curriculum that high schoolers can take as well. That's like our non-primary source track, if you will, and that's Western Civ 2, and American Civ. So it's a separate way to get history credit with Colby if your student isn't going to be in that primary source track. Now, for that primary source classical track, we offer Greek history. It basically corresponds with what we're doing in literature. So Greek history, Roman history, Arab Christendom, and then modern and US history. We also offer a 1 semester course for government. Don't worry, Kristen, we'll get you through it. All right, on to math. We use the Sadly Our Progress in Mathematics program for 6 through 8. Students in 8th grade who are ready for Algebra 1 will use the Forster Algebra 1 course. We offer honors I meant to add this. We offer Accelerated Math 6, Accelerated Math 7 as well. So not quite honors, because we don't talk about honors till we get into like high school credit type things, but students who are more advanced can enroll in those. And often a student, say in Accelerated Math 7, would go right into Honors Algebra 1. And then we offer honors options all through. And then AP Calculus or AP Stats. Now, another thing that we offer are math labs. And math labs are aimed at students who might need a little more practice, a little more live time with the teacher, to go over concepts, practice more problems. And we are actually adding that up through Algebra 2 now. So we'll have math labs for grades 6, 7, and 8, Algebra 1, and also Algebra 2. We don't offer a geometry lab, but a lot of our geometry students who do need extra practice will actually enroll in the Algebra 1 lab, because it's really those skills that they need when they're doing the geometry, if they need more practice. All right, science courses. One thing that differentiates us from other Catholic homeschool programs is that we do use secular textbooks instead of the Protestant curriculum that some other Catholic homeschool programs may use. And then we just will weave Catholic church teaching into the content as appropriate. So for example, obviously biology is kind of the biggest one. So we actually are switching what we're going to be using. We've been using a book by Cardinal Schoenberg called Chance or Purpose, and we're actually going to be switching to using something that Pope Benedict wrote, a series of essays that basically addresses evolution and that kind of thing. So we're excited about that change for next year. We generally do life science in 6th or 7th grade, earth in 7th or 8th. Students who are ready to take Algebra 1 in 8th grade may take the physical science. So there's a co-requisite of Algebra 1 to take physical science. So there's a couple options for students coming into middle school. For example, my 7th grader had taken earth science as a 6th grader last year. So he went ahead and enrolled in life science this year, but he's going to be ready for Algebra 1 in 8th. So he's going to take physical science as an 8th grader. So he'll skip taking general science. General science it's kind of like physical science light a little bit. It has a little bit of, it really focuses more on science skills, and it's generally taken in 8th grade for students who have already taken earth science and are in Math 8 pre-algebra instead of in Algebra 1 as an 8th grader. That's a really good question, Linda. Yes. So one thing that's really great about Colby's program, you can be enrolled full-time with us. And if there is a math program that you would prefer to use for your child, you can do that and you can swap out. You just have to get it approved by an advisor. It's pretty easy to get anything approved if it's K through 8. If it's high school, we just have to take a closer look at it. We already have like a list of approved curriculum for getting credit. So Chrissy, that's a really good question. So physical science can count towards graduation. It is a prerequisite for biology and chemistry, but if you take it in 8th grade, you would not need to retake it in 9th grade to get credit. You could instead take AP Chemistry or AP Biology or any other science of your choosing. So like in my situation, I have a 9th grader and he's in honors biology right now. He's going to take honors chemistry next year and then probably honors physics. And then 12th grade, he can take whatever science he wants, AP Chemistry, AP Biology, so there's options for him there. We also have an astronomy course. It's a homeschool course only. We don't have it in the online yet, but can you take middle school? Do you mean, can you take middle school physical science? So the physical science that I have listed on here, the online course, that will actually, if you take that in 8th grade, it will count for high school credit. Middle school physics. We'd have to take a look at the actual curriculum to be able to see if it could replace physical science. And if it's a middle school level course, it can't receive high school credit. So in that case, it would not count towards high school, if that makes sense. But I think it'd be good if you made an appointment with one of our advisors to kind of talk about what you're thinking about for science, because we can help you figure that out. So honors, you get +1 in the GPA. So normally, an A would be worth a 4.0, and an honors course, an A is worth a 5.0. So both. So you get an extra GPA point, but really you're in there for the challenge. I mean, it's really about the, at least in my mind, me with my mom hat on, like I only want my kid in honors if I think that they would benefit from it academically, that it's going to be challenging to them, not just to get the GPA boost, although the GPA boost is nice, of course. Yes, and all of our AP courses are also worth 5 instead of 4. And the AP courses by definition are supposed to be college level. So that's one of the philosophies in doing that. Good questions. Let me talk about the hands-on lab too, because I love it so much. So in the past, we've always had an option for students to do virtual lab for biology, chemistry, and physics. Now we're really big into science at Colby, and we feel that hands-on lab is better. So we do have this hands-on lab option for biology and chemistry. My 9th grader has been doing the hands-on biology lab, and it's one of his favorite things. There is a fetal pig in my closet over there, and it's been there all year, and he threatens me with it sometimes. Just kidding. But anyway, so the hands-on lab's an option, but for this is something we're kind of slowly rolling out, but biology this coming year, we're no longer going to have the virtual lab option. It doesn't mean you have to enroll in hands-on lab, but what the teachers are going to do is they're going to have some really low-key hands-on labs to do along with the course, and they'll actually spend some class time on those labs. And then for labs that they don't have time to spend class time on, they'll have an instruction like video to go with it so that they can do it, so that it'll be enough to get that lab credit without having to do the virtual. The virtual just wasn't really allowing the students to practice any actual lab skills. It was more just kind of watching what was going on. And it was good for some things, but for other things, not as good. So, and basically we're able to come up with an equipment list that was around the same price as purchasing the virtual lab license. So, so we were pretty happy with that. And we intend to roll that out up through chemistry and physics over the next, year or two. I wish we could have all done it at once, but small changes. All right, so beyond that, though, we do have a full-on like hands-on lab where you buy the kit and the microscope and everything. I mean, it's more expensive, right? I mean, you're going to be spending $200 on the kit, and I think the microscope we got was like $90, so it's a little bit of an investment. Personally, it has been great. I have been so happy with it. The teacher is awesome, and the labs have been great. My 9th grader just did this lab where he took swabs of bacteria from all over the house and let it grow for a week. That was very interesting. So yeah, it's been a great experience being in those hands-on labs. And he's very much looking forward to the chemistry one next year. He thinks he's going to be exploding things in my kitchen. We shall see. All right, so foreign language. In the online school, we offer Latin, French, and Spanish. We offer Latin 1, 2, and 3 and AP Latin. in the high school. And then French 1, 2, 3, and 4. We would eventually like to offer high school Spanish 4. We haven't gotten there yet with students that have been interested in it. So it seems to be that our more hardcore language students are in Latin and French. I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. We also new this year, we have added middle school French and Spanish, first level. So it'd be like a little intro to French. And what we're going to do is they buy basically the level 1 French book, and then our French teacher, or Spanish if it's Spanish, and they'll just go through a smaller portion of it. And so the idea being that by the time they get done with middle school, they might be able to go right into French 2. And then, we also offer first form and second form Latin in the middle school as well. So what's kind of great is we've got 3 languages in the middle school now, which I'm excited about. Okay, on to fine arts and electives. So we offer, for next year, we're offering drama 1 and drama 2. Those are semester long courses. And we actually have an alumni of the online school. So she graduated from Colby in like 2014, maybe. She went on to University of Dallas, and she developed this drama program for us, and it is just fantastic. So it's two semesters. You can do just one or both semesters, and there are fine arts requirements for the diploma. So it's a great way to do that. Wendy, going back to hands-on labs for 6th and 7th grade, there isn't a separate lab for 6th and 7th grade, but our teachers do often bring in some hands-on activities for them. So like my son Austin in life science had to do an activity that was, I can't remember what it is. It'll come to me later. But there was something recently that he did. They kind of try to bring it in where they can. Good question. Okay, back to electives. Other semester electives that we have, health and government. And then new this year, we added a world religions course. And what's really cool is it brings in like the apologetics side. So it's not just like your standard world religions course, but it's world religions from a Catholic perspective and kind of the apologetics around that. And that's a high school course. We also, AP Computer Science and Philosophy are other electives that we they don't, and when I say electives, it means they don't really fall into a particular academic category for graduation requirements. So world religions does not count towards your theology requirements. However, it does count towards your electives. And I'll actually show you the diploma requirements at the end here. Kristen, that's a really good idea. So Mrs. Hoxie teaches that particular class. So I could put you in touch with her if you want to know a little more about it. It's one course that I don't know as much about. I do believe they do some theology of the body, and they also do a lot of like physical fitness type things also. So like, actual taking care of yourself, that sort of thing. Oh, good. See, perfect. Yeah. She's the one that teaches it. She's awesome. So I'm sure she would love to chat with you about that. Everybody's so well connected at Colby. It's so great. I mean, just the fact that there's 2 people on this webinar that I know. All right, homeroom. So homeroom, everybody's like, what's that? What's homeroom? Homeroom is this great course, and there's no homework. So the teachers don't have to grade anything, but they present some study skills, digital citizenship. They do community building exercises, like just a whole bunch of like stuff that, kind of wrapped into this great, neat little package of being able to support the students and hopefully make them more successful in the online courses, how to set goals, how to use your planner, all that kind of thing. So that the class itself, it's an hour and 20 minutes. So a little bit longer than what you might've been used to as homeroom if you went to a brick and mortar school. But what they do, the first half is that presentation on study skills and kind of a lesson. And then the second half is actually a study hall. So the students can kind of work together, bounce ideas off each other, work on homework together. And while that study hall is going on, the teacher is rotating through the students and meeting with them individually to talk about their own personal goals, academic goals, spiritual, just kind of like a check-in. And we try to get 3 to 4 of those meetings in per year for each student. So it's a pretty neat course. All right, total class hours. So this is just an estimate of how many hours we expect students to spend on their courses, and this includes live class time. And of course, this is for an average student. You know, if you have a more diligent worker, they might finish more quickly. If they aren't very diligent, or it just takes longer for them to focus, it might be longer. I have found the middle school workload pretty easy. In fact, I've thought about adding more classes. Oh, thank you. I don't know why it didn't advance there. I've thought about adding another class to my middle schooler. And the high school, definitely more intense. There's more paper writing, a lot more, the reading's more intense. And so it's one of those things where, depending on the strength of reader you have, or how quick, what they're used to, you may or may not want to like jump in and do Greek literature the first year. Greek literature is like, whoa, welcome to high school, people. So sometimes we recommend, you know, have them take English 9 instead of literature in 9th grade, and then maybe take Greek literature as a 10th grader. So that's correct. Homeroom is included in the full online tuition if you do full-time online. Oh, you know what I forgot to put on here as far as new things. So for the high school, and Kristen, you'll find this interesting, we're adding writing labs. So not a replacement for English. It's not necessarily like a full-on instructional class, but it's a way for students to get support for the things that they're writing in other classes. So it's kind of like bring your own paper to class, you know, get writing instruction help. And there's 2 levels. So there's the beginning level, which would be just, you know, basically students that haven't gone through Kolbe's writing instruction before. And then intermediate or advanced. I can't decide what to call it. And I don't want people to think it's like super advanced, but it's more for finessing. So students that are pretty solid writers, but they want to work on really finessing their papers. So yeah, I'm really excited about that for next year. Okay, so now I'm ready to talk about enrollment options. So this chart is a little crazy, I know. Kristen, so those hourly totals were including inside and outside of class time altogether. Oops. Okay, so what we have, I wish I had do I have a pointer? Come on, Zoom. I'm so used to working in Adobe Connect. Zoom is dead to me. Let's see. Okay. I have a little marker here. Okay, so we've got, so you guys can ignore this because that doesn't apply to this presentation. If you are interested in full-time online for K through 5, that presentation's in about an hour, so you can come back for that. So the first enrollment option, full-time online 6 through 12. This is going to include 6 online self-paced or self-paced plus courses, and then it includes any homeschool courses that you want to do. So you can kind of mix and match. If you remember, the self-paced courses were ones that had those pre-recorded videos in it. They also have self-graded quizzes. Self-paced plus basically takes those self-paced courses and then gives you a teacher on top of it to do some of the grading. And this year, those teachers are also going to interact with the students over email. So if a student has a question, they can email their teacher directly. The other thing I want to mention is you can swap one of these 6 for like a lab. So you could do, you know, 5 online courses plus the writing lab. And financially, it actually works out that it's still like about the same, whether you were to do full-time online or, you know, just do courses a la carte, even with swapping out the lab. So the 6, if you do 6 online courses, it's actually quite a good savings based on instead of doing courses a la carte. And then we've got the full-time standard. Oh, one more thing with the full-time online, it includes a book credit, okay? And it includes homeroom, and it includes the tech fee, and also new this year, it includes all the honors and AP fees that go with honors courses. So if you enroll for full-time standard, it also includes a book credit. But what it doesn't include is tuition for the online self-paced or self-paced plus courses. So you add those in a la carte. It does include all of your homeschool courses. So back to somebody's question earlier, let's say you thought you were only going to take 2 online classes and the rest homeschool. doing something like full-time standard or full-time flex is going to be your best bet, because you only are going to add in 2 online courses, and all of your homeschool courses are included in that tuition fee. Really, the only difference between these 2 is the book credit. Okay, so they're pretty much the same program, but you don't get the bookstore credit. You get a pretty decent size bookstore credit. So if you're new to Kolbe, the full-time standard really makes sense. If you've been with us for a long time and have all the grade levels of all the books, then full-time flex is probably better. But it depends. Like sometimes there's new editions of books that you need. And you can use that bookstore credit for any of your children. So sometimes our larger families will enroll like 1 or 2 of their students as full-time standard to get those book credits, and then the other ones as full-time flex. And then we also offer part-time, and that basically is only you're only enrolling for courses a la carte. So you're going to pay for your homeschool courses separate. You're not going towards a diploma, you know, that kind of thing. So if you're mixing, I think probably the best way to figure out which enrollment option you should do is first start with how many online or self-paced courses you want to do. If you want to do at least 6 online self-paced or self-paced plus courses, then you should do full-time online. If you're going to do 5 and a lab, you should also do full-time online. If you're going to do less than that, then full-time standard is usually the best way to go. So it'll all depend on how many you think you're doing. So Carrie, what I would recommend is making an appointment with one of our enrollment counselors, and they can kind of walk you through what your goals are for each of your kids, and even talk you through like how, you know, what is the benefit of doing 5 online courses versus 2 or whatever. They can kind of, you know, analyze where you're coming from and what your kids are used to as far as school goes. All right. Oh, just a quick note about our bookstore. We carry all the texts that go with our courses, ID cards, although ID cards do come with full-time enrollment. So if you do enroll in one of those full-time options, student ID card is included, but you can also get other supplemental materials and resources on our bookstore. So yes, all of the full-time options work towards a diploma. So in fact, if you want a diploma, you need to make sure you pick one of the full-time options. Part-time is the only thing that will not work towards getting a diploma. Alrighty, yeah. Now, if you guys click on any of these boxes, does it open the link? So if I were in Adobe Connect, like I made all of these little boxes, like next Student Shadow Week, is actually next week. If you click on that, it should take you to the landing page for Shadow Week. Did that happen for anybody? If not, I might put the links in here. This is why I don't like, okay, here's Shadow Week. Here is, this is for making an appointment with an advisor. And then our student enrollment is open already. If you're new to Kolbe, you need to fill out an application first for each new student. And then then once your application gets approved, you complete student enrollment. And then once your student enrollment is complete, when course registration opens, you'll be sent a link to then choose and register for courses. And that is going to be happening on Tuesday. So is your middle schooler taking an online class right now? If they're a current online student, we can't accommodate. We just get so many. We have like over 100 students already enrolled for Shadow Week next week, so we just can't accommodate our current families. But we can get you a recording of a high school class with no problems. So if you just come to live chat, they can hook you up with whatever you're looking for. Okay, so it is 11:50. If you guys have questions, feel free to start throwing them in the chat box. I am going to go over to the diploma requirements. This is for high school. So depending on how familiar you are with Kolbe, we used to have 3 different diploma tracks. And what we have done is we've gone back to just doing one diploma and then doing awards instead. Awards were really, we only had one diploma before, and it was kind of like the award was layered onto the diploma. So now we're just, to clarify it, we're just doing, there's one diploma, and then the awards are based on course selections, similar to what our old diploma tracks were like. So our recommended track is to have 4 years of theology, 4 years of English and Lit, and 2 of those have to be literature, and the other 2 can be English or Lit. Yes, Libby, new this year, Intro to French is available as an online class for grades 6 through 8. So it would be exciting to have you in there. History, you need 3 histories, and one needs to be a world, one needs to be a US history, and the other one could be any, it could be another world, another US. Math through Algebra 2, science, biology with lab, chemistry with lab, and physical science. Physical science can be fulfilled several ways. It could be AP chemistry, it could be physics, it could be honors physics, it could be the physical science course. So there's a lot of ways to do that. Foreign language, 2 years up through level 2. Both credits need to be in the same language. So you can't take like Latin 1 and French 1. You have to take Latin 1 and Latin 2. Yes, you can absolutely enroll in Math Lab at any time. So we have that. That's a common course to be added during the year. And our math teachers, once you're enrolled with us, they do math recommendations each year. In fact, I'm getting ready to send those out. So they'll even suggest that this would be a student that would benefit from Math Lab. So they kind of have a good handle on that too. And so this is a big thing. This is 5 academic electives. So you'll notice we used to have like 3 years of foreign language required, 5 years of English Lit. I think that was it. So we added, and we used to have only 2 academic electives. So we took off 2 and added an academic elective. So that's where you can do a 4th year of math, your 4th year of math, your 4th year of science, your 2 extra foreign languages. Like those can all count towards the academic electives, or some of those other courses like philosophy, world religions, AP computer science can also count towards that. So yes, Kristen, they're going to go out on Monday. So that's right. So only 2 literature and 2 English. Yeah, well, that's a good question. Government and econ are both semester classes usually, and they may, don't quote me, they may qualify for that history elective. So yep, we do. Dual enrollment definitely counts. In fact, if you do community college, like a 1 semester 3 credit class, there actually counts for a year of high school credit. So if you take, say, like college algebra or something, that counts for a full year of math. So it's a pretty good deal for our students who do that. Of course, I will say with my mom hat on, like, give them all the Colby curriculum while you can. But I know there's different reasons for doing things. Okay, so I want to talk about the awards just a little bit. So we've got 2 general achievement awards. So the St. Ignatius Award, which is when you do 24 of your credits, all as Colby courses. And then the St. Maximilian Colby Award. Oh, maybe I can bring this up. Hold on. Now we have them on our website. Hopefully you can you guys see the awards on here? I always have a hard time telling what Zoom is actually showing. Okay, cool. All right, so the St. Maximilian Colby Award, this is very similar to what our Summa Cum Laude diploma used to be, if you're familiar with that. But it requires 4 years of theology, 4 of literature, 4 of history, 4 math, 4 science, 4 foreign language, and then 4 academic electives. So these academic electives could be English courses, they could be philosophy, world religion, like kind of all that stuff can fall under there. And these all have to be Colby courses. And then you have to the student has to maintain a minimum of 3.5 GPA in those courses. And they also have to complete like PE and visual performing arts, but you have to do that anyway to graduate. So that's one award. Then the St. Ignatius Award was the 24 Colby courses. St. Thomas Aquinas Award. I love this one. So it's 4 years of theology, 4 of literature, 4 of history. And then you have to take at least half of those courses as honors level courses. So there's 12 here, you'd have to take at least 6 as honors. And then the St. Albertus Magnus Award, this is our math and science award. So taking 4 years of math, 4 years of science, and half of those have to be honors math or science, and it has to be up through at least calculus in math. And then the St. John Paul Award, I love this one. So this one is for the linguists out there. You have to take through a 4th year of language and at least 2 years of Latin. So that's actually 6 credits of language that that you have to take. So you can either take up through Latin 4 and then 2 years of a modern language, or you can take up through 4th year of a modern language and then 2 years of Latin. So those are the awards. I think that's all I have. I'm happy to stay and answer any questions that people might have, or if there's any slides that you want me to go back to look at. I'll put the diplomas back up. All right. Sure, Kristen. Do you want to get on mic? Or okay. Yeah, so there's a couple options for 9th grade or for American history. We do have 12th grade is on the primary source track, if you want to call it that, like where you're doing kind of the classical track. They don't hit the modern US history until 12th grade. And then, but there's another option called American Civilization that uses the Catholic Textbook Project textbook called Lands of Hope and Promise, and that is an American history course. Let's see. So that's actually a really good question, Kristen. I don't know that we have any, the requirement is that the students have to be given their assignment at the end of live class. So the teacher should be saying, you know, before next live class, you need to read chapter 5 and do whatever assignment it is. And the students should be writing that down in their planner as opposed to waiting for it to pop up on Schoology. Now, as a parent, I totally understand trying to kind of coordinate work and school schedules and all that stuff. And so if it's not on Schoology, it is dead to me. So that is something that we would really like to work on, I think, with our teachers to make sure that they're giving enough lead time on assignments. Certainly having it in live class, an announcement in live class does put a little bit of that responsibility on the students to make sure they're writing things down. But in general, they should, I mean, in my experience with all of my kids' classes, and I have, 14 classes of sample size, I've only had a couple of little issues come up where things weren't given enough lead time for us to manage that in our family. But I would encourage you, if there's a particular situation that comes up, you should just reach out and talk to the teacher and let them know, or you can even reach out to your grade level advisor if you want to talk about a particular situation. I know. Yeah, if it's not, I mean, they should be posting it the same day, but I get that sometimes stuff happens. A lot of them do teach all day, so sometimes they don't get to posting it till the end of the day. And I think there's, some teachers are more diligent than others. But if it's becoming a problem for your family, you ought to just say something, because sometimes teachers don't think about that piece, the parent side of it, right? So, but that's something we are working with them on a lot. And, with me being a parent too, like I completely understand the need for Schoology to kind of be gospel. Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of time. I definitely don't, my 7th grader does not spend that much time on his middle school classes. So maybe there's a particular class that is just maybe harder for the student to get their work done on. And I mean, there are certain classes where, you know, my 7th grader is just like, it's just not his favorite class. And so it just takes him longer to do that work because any distraction he can find he will take gladly. All right, Linda says, for Colby Academy diploma, do you accept transfer? And yes, we do. Let's see. Oh yeah, I mean, Kristen, I would say that like what would be really important is to, when you chat with your advisor for next year, like just really being diligent about picking classes to kind of like, I would recommend in that case, definitely doing English 9 as your 9th grade English lit credit instead of Greek literature. Greek literature is that the reading, I mean, the Iliad is really intense. And I mean, the beginning, my 9th grader was like, oh my gosh, Mom, what did you get me into? Like the first couple of weeks, but like by the time 2nd semester came around, the amount of growth that occurred in that child is just beyond belief. And now when you read something that hard initially, it just makes everything else kind of fall into place. So I know, I do too. I love this. Like, I love that I can sit here and work and I am hearing what they're doing in class. This is my homeschool room and my office. They're normally in here, although they're not right now because I'm talking too loud. But I love being able to hear how they're participating, their presentations in class. It's awesome. All right. Wendy asks, for self-paced homework assignments, would they need to be clean? So that it's up to you. So self-paced courses are directed by the parent, but the content and the availability of a teacher is there. So the teacher doesn't set deadlines. They will grade what you turn in, but they're not going to come after the student if they don't turn something in, if that makes sense. Whereas in an online class, if you don't turn something in on time, you know, your students then susceptible to the late policy and all that stuff. But self-paced courses, you don't have that. It's just you turn in what you want to turn in and the teacher grades what you turn in. But they are selected assignments. So you can't just turn in any assignment of your choosing. Usually it's like papers and exams that are the selected assignments for self-paced courses. Good question. Can I answer any other questions? All right. Well, this has been recorded. So if anybody wants to rewatch it or share it with a spouse or a friend, you know, feel free to. And if anybody needs any of those links, can you still get them up there? I think you can. Yeah, all those links are up there. I'm going to put these two just so they're at the bottom. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you being here and hopefully we'll see you next year.